remember to turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. Was Death Note's philosophical conflict weak? When looking back on it after fleshing out story theory, I believe it was. Death Note's philosophical conflict was between Light and L, and it was an argument over how justice should be served. A philosophical conflict is when two characters have opposing beliefs and clash. Usually, the belief of the protagonist will be the message that the theme is in support of. In Death Note's case, not only is the protagonist a villain, but the actual answer to the theme is mostly left up in the air. The most compelling philosophical conflicts really have me thinking if the villain has a point with their beliefs. Think Lelouch, Pain, and Eren. But in Death Note, this level of thought does not exist, because Light is framed as irrational as early as episode 2. The writers make it extremely clear that the audience should not be siding with him. Before the end of episode 2, he was killing people that committed heinous crimes, like murder. He also saved several people from a hostage situation. Although his justice system wasn't very defined, the few people he killed could easily be justified by most rational people. But then the end of episode 2 happens. L's dummy comes on TV and says that what Light is doing is wrong, so Light kills him on the spot. This is where Light develops the added rule that anyone who opposes me is evil. This kind of logic is impossible to justify for most rational people. I can't say, he has a point when he's saying narcissistic nonsense like this. Meanwhile, L's line of justice is mostly following the law. If you kill people outside of the law, like Kira, then you're a criminal. That's easy to get behind. By making Light clearly narcissistic and wrong, the philosophical conflict has little weight. The theme asks the question, what is justice? And from episode 2, we already know it's not Light's view. So our only remaining answer is L's. It's like the story didn't even fight to make Light reasonable. Maybe because they didn't want to negatively influence kids, but that doesn't change the fact that the thematic conflict is severely weakened. However, this is a give and take relationship, because if Light was less narcissistic and more justifiable, we wouldn't have gotten the epic story that we got. Let's remove the anyone who opposes me is evil, and make Kira a standard vigilante with a predictable view on what crimes are punishable by death, like murder and rape. Light versus Ray Pember wouldn't have happened, because the former wouldn't have had a reason to kill the fake L. Light versus Naomi Misora wouldn't have happened either, and neither would Light versus L, the greatest part of the story. In order to have these epic non-battle showdowns, Light needed to have a god complex and an indefensible philosophical stance. In conclusion, Light's philosophical belief is weak, weakening the philosophical conflict between him and L, but the cost comes with a reward of epic and memorable scenes that could only be pulled off if Light was narcissistic. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.